Pidgeon. I am President of the Australian National Flag Association. 2 addresses. Thank you, Allan.
Thank you very much. I might go and stand actually in front of the flag. See, we've just raised it, and I'll try and talk loudly so that you can all hear. But I want to talk a little bit about celebrating today, because it is Australia Day, and we celebrate on Australia Day not that Australia is a perfect nation, there's no such thing on earth, but we celebrate the fact that we have built here a society that we can be proud of. And obviously, as I say, there are parts of our history that are regrettable and that are perhaps tragic even, but we are not in a position to reverse our history. We're here to say, as Australians today, we're doing all we can to make this a better place for everyone. And so when we think about Australia Day, we also should acknowledge that January 26 has a significance all of its own, because in 1949, that's the day we all became Australian citizens. Until the Citizenship Act had been passed, we were British subjects. On January 26, 1949, everyone in Australia became Australian citizen, and that included Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. All Australians became Australian citizens as that status on 26th of January. So we celebrate an anniversary there that's significant for all Australians as well. But also the rule of law, which said over centuries has established that no one was higher than the law. And that was demonstrated by the fact that the very first civil case in Australia convened after 1788 was a convict who sued the captain of the ship that transported him over because some of his possessions were lost. And he got an award of damages for the captain having not looked after his possessions on the trip over. Now, if the First Fleet had not been British, if it had been Dutch or French or Spanish, I don't think you would have seen that happen, that it was established that all were equal under the law and no one was above the law. So let's celebrate on Australia Day that we have a country we can be proud of. And ours is the Southern Cross, which is the only visible in the Southern Hemisphere. It shows our place in the world. Significantly, the Southern Cross is also very important in Aboriginal mythology. There are a lot of Aboriginal myths and legends that relate to the Southern Cross. At that time, we had the Union Jack, which, as I said, symbolised that European settlement came from Great Britain. At that stage, it could have come from any other colonial power, France, Spain, whatever, but it happened to be the British who were the first Europeans here. And as a result, as I said, we have our national language, English, we have the parliamentary system of government, and we have the rule of law. And then the future is the Commonwealth Star, the Federation Star, symbolising all Australians together building a future for our country. So the design, we think, is something that should endure as a symbol of our nation. It's a unique history. The first flag designed ever by a public competition, and the only national flag that flies over an entire continent. And Peter Racy, who has done a lot here with the museum, got on to Roy Emerson and asked him what the flag means to him. And Roy asked us to read this message: what the flag means to me. When seeing the Australian flag flying, I immediately have thoughts of my love for and my pride in Australia. Not only is it our heritage and national identity, but a wonderful way of life with Australians enjoy, living in a free, peaceful society with boundless opportunities. The Australian flag reminds us how fortunate we are to be Australians. So that, from such a star in the sporting world, probably one of the people who put Australia on the world map in tennis and was part of the golden age of Australian tennis, a magnificent sportsman, a great Australian. It's very fitting that you honour him. It's very fitting that you have the museum. It's wonderful that you now fly the Australian flag in front of the museum, and it's very nice that Roy was able to give us those words about what the flag means to him. So happy Australia Day,
Councillor Spud Jones. I will call him Spud today because only in Australia could we have a local councillor called Spud. And so I think that it's wonderful that you could be here as well.